Welcome back to Mickey Car Beauty. So today I'm going to do a voiceover of the application of the reformulated Chanel Ultra Le Teint foundation. And this time I actually got the reformulated Longwear color corrector in green or Vert. And what it is a long-lasting corrective concealer in 3 color-correcting shades to address a range of skin concerns and imperfections. The claims are that it's a formula that features a lightweight gel-based texture and contains a soft-focus pigment for comfortable wear and the most seamless finish. So I wanted to try this because I've tried different color correctors through the years, and I was curious to see if this would wear well with the Chanel foundation. And so I'm using this to cover up the redness I have on my cheeks from my sensitivity and rosacea. And first impressions of that Chanel corrector are that it was pretty thin and it wore pretty well. And so I was really happy with it, of how it played well with the foundation. The next Chanel product I applied was the Hydra Beauty Micro Gel Yeux, or for the eyes. It's an intense smoothing eye gel, and I had gotten a sample of this, and what I found is that because of its gel-like texture, putting this on right before I do my concealer made my concealer last longer and made it just apply beautifully. So here is the reformulated Chanel Ultra Le Teint, and because it's new, I made sure to shake it up really well. My winter color is BD51, and I noticed with this formula that it was not as runny, but the color is very true to form of the old formulation. And what I like to do with this formula is I found it's best to put it on one side of the face, one at a time. And that's just kind of how I do my foundation for any product. And then I went ahead and used the Sonia G Fusion Series Jumbo Base brush, which has been my go-to foundation application since I got that in the mail. And I would say that it worked really beautifully with the Chanel application. Very easy. And right off the bat, I noticed, and you can see in the video, that I really do think the green color corrector helped with really just subduing the redness. If I had not put that green corrector underneath, you would definitely be seeing more redness peek through. So I just think that it's kind of like a primer in a way. It kind of lets the true color of the foundation come through. So I finished up my left side, and then I'm moving on to my right. And for this product, I usually use a pump or a pump and a half, depending on how much coverage I need. But the wonderful thing about the Chanel, at least this foundation, is that usually one pump is enough, because with the formulation, I think it's meant to be a medium to medium full foundation. So most days I just use one pump, so half a pump for each side of my face. And it's about here in this part of the application that I'm noticing that BD51 is probably too light for my skin tone as it transitions from my summer tan to fall. And so I'm noticing that it's definitely a little bit more white cast or gray cast. I don't think that has to do with the color corrector. So what you'll see me do is I'll end up grabbing my old Chanel in BD61, and I've done this before. It's often with foundations I don't find my perfect color match, so I have to mix it with 2 different colors. So you'll see me grabbing my old Chanel BD61 on my right side here, on my right hand, on the right hand side. And what I usually do is if I have a deeper shade, I will put it on the outside of my face. So I'm going to show you the difference of the colors here. And that first pump was the BD51, and here is BD61. So you can see that the BD51 on my tan skin is pretty light. And when I say tan, I meant summer tan. But the BD51 ends up being a little bit too warm. And what I notice, it might look pretty close to my skin tone, but the way it dries down is just a shade too deep. So what I end up having to do is often I pump both of these into a different container to make a cocktail for my perfect match. So what I'm doing here is a trick that I've seen other people of color have to do, where they either can't find their correct shade match, or just in general, because I think when you have deeper skin tones, we have to mix different colors of foundation, because it ends up being, if we just get one color, it makes the tonalities and our face look a little bit too flat. So to add dimension to our actual skin tone of how it looks in real life, I've seen other people actually use up to 2, maybe 3 different shades or correctors to match how dynamic their shade range and tones of their face are. So my under eye is prepped, and now I am reaching for my Becca Cosmetics Under Eye Brightening Corrector in medium to deep. And this is pretty much my holy grail for the darkness under my eyes. I do have darkness under my eyes, but it's not as intense as some other people where I've seen them use orange, but I do have them. And what I do like about this product is that it's pretty emollient. I've tried Charlotte Tilbury and NARS and other products where it's either a crayon or very putty-like or a thick concealer. And because I have fine lines underneath my eyes, it ends up making my concealer that I put on top of it cakey. So what's wonderful about this under eye brightening corrector is that it's pretty emollient, and there's some pigments in there that are light reflecting. So it's claiming that it has a light reflecting illuminator that pushes away or deflects light away from the dark blue tones under the eyes. And so that between it's being a very emollient and being light reflective, just putting the concealer on after this product has been a holy grail for me. So I'm reaching for now my Pat McGrath Sublime Perfection Concealer in LM14. And I decided not to do Chanel just because I think I've tried it before and I wasn't interested in trying a reformulation. For me, the tried and true really is my Pat McGrath concealer, in that I don't need a lot of product. The more product I have to put down, it really emphasizes my lines. And what's so wonderful about this Pat McGrath concealer is that there's a bit of peachiness undertone in it, so it also continues to hide any dark circles. So I'm going in with the Sonia G concealer brush Fusion Series, and I've also been reaching for this. It's a wonderful brush. So I forget if she's selling these individually now. I think she is on Beautylish. So if there were 2 I'd recommend, it would be definitely the largest brush, which is the foundation, and then this concealer brush. So I'm reaching for the Pat McGrath Lab Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Setting Powder in medium. And the claims are that it's a blurring under eye powder with a brightening soft focus finish. So I love this product. It's small. I'm about to hit pan on it. And what I find is that a little goes a long way as well. And I'm using my Wayne Goss Squirrel hairbrush, which actually just got released on Beautylish. And I love this squirrel hairbrush because it's so versatile and tiny that it gets in the small crevices under my eye or other parts of my face with precision. And it's extremely soft. As you can see, it just glides across the face. So I'm reaching for my Sisley loose powder in 2 Mate, or M-A-T-E. And I love this loose powder. What it does is it claims that it's a sheer powder that evens out the skin, leaves a matte finish, and absorbs excess sebum. So for anyone who wants a light, natural, and sheer powder that gives skin a radiant velvet finish. And I find that it's best to go light with this powder, as you can see. I have a lot of oils coming through, so I'm just setting the foundation. And it really wears well over time. Loose powder can sometimes get cakey when you have oily skin, but not with this. I find also that if you do a light dabbing with the powder puff it comes with, that will also last longer for definitely a more matte finish, but I wanted to do a light application with this powder brush. So I'm done with the Chanel base of the new reformulation of the Chanel Ultra Le Teint foundation. And so far, I don't see a difference. I actually think they might have improved upon it. It's a beautiful foundation. And so as you can see, in the summer, this is, if I get a deeper tan, it's just this, but often I have to do a cocktail of these two. So when I get in the winter, when I'm super pale, it'll just be this, and then I'll use bronzer to kind of level it out. But because we're in transition from summer to fall, you can see that that is not quite matching up. So that's why I put a little bit of the cocktail today. So this is BD 51, and again, this is BD 61. So this is old formula, new formula. I don't see a difference other than actually it might be a little bit better and more blurring. What I'm going to do is take my Sisley bronzer, which is probably one of my favorite bronzers between the Tom Ford Gold Dust. But what I do love about this is that it's that Beiges formula, and I think what's so great about this is that this can also be kind of an all over your face warming, whereas I think it's a little harder to do with the Gold Dust Tom Ford one because it has a little bit of shimmer in there. So we're gonna try to see if I can use this to warm up my face. There's only one bronzer color, and let me swatch it for you. So that's what it looks like. And then we're finding some space on here. So you can see it's not a matte, it's definitely some shimmer, but it's Beiges formula, so it's a little bit more forgiving. I think this is made in Italy. Yep. Just warm up my face a little bit. See there, I warmed that up. It's really beautiful bronzer. And I like using this brush kind of for all over bronzing. It's not the softest brush that you can see. I'll do one side of my face so you can see the difference of one side versus the other. And I have a question. Does anyone else have that issue where you're working on your face, bronzing, brushing, and then your hair gets in the way? What do you guys do? Okay, so that's one side with the bronzer, and that's without. With the Sisley bronzer. And because I'm extra, I don't want to use this bronzer. I want to use the Clé de Peau bronzer, an 02. This is the Clé de Peau Beauté Bronzing Powder Duo. And I'll do a swatch next to really beautiful packaging. So that's the Clé de Peau bronzer. And it has two different colors. So I'm going to wipe off my hands here. It has two different colors, this kind of lighter shade and warmer shade. So here is the lighter of the shades. I can barely tell it. This is the second swatch. That's the lighter shade, and this is the deeper shade. So it looks like the lighter shade is a little bit more, I think there's a sheen to it, and this is more matte. I just swirl both of these. And then build up. And for me, it just ends up being this really wonderful, almost like a blush bronzer situation. My favorite blush to put on the front is the Chantecaille Joy blush in Wild Horse. So this is it. And I just like to put, and it's a matte blush, so I like to use that in the front because I have texture. So let me swatch that here. This is the Sonia G Cheek Pro. Let's dab some of that. Just put some there. See? Little pop. So it's a little orangey peach in the back, but pink in the front. Wanting to do the extra mile, I do the Chantecaille Hummingbird finishing powder. And this is the one that is no longer, they just released it in the regular packaging, but this is the limited edition packaging. And I've heard it's supposed to be the same, but I've seen 1 or 2 reviews where they say this is a little bit peachier. The other one's more light, but this has a peach hue, which for my skin tone is great. You see that? So I'm gonna do one side with this so you can see what it looks like. Okay, this side and this side. You see the difference? It just kind of airbrushes out this side more. With this side and this side, okay? Can you see the difference? It's really subtle, but this is the magic of this powder. And what's great is that it doesn't change, it just actually gets better. So I'll put this on and how it wears throughout the day, it just makes my skin look great. Chantecaille just knocks it out of the park with their products. Okay, I know I put blush on, but I realized that this is a Chanel video, so I wanted to add the Chanel blush. And this is one of my favorite blushes, Malice. I used to have this as my primary blush for years. So I'm gonna use this. She's a beautiful color, look at this. It's got a little bit of shimmer. See that? It's very similar to Joy, the horse, but this is Chanel. And I believe this is in the old formula. I went and got this, went out and bought this before they changed out with the new formula. So you can see how it just really pops the color. There we go. And it's on, and I like to layer on my blushes, so I'm not surprised I'm going in again with this. So that's Malice. Okay, my eyes are primed and prepped. Le Beige Intense eyeshadow palette, and this was from earlier this year. And they had the other one that was red tone, but I have a lot of red. Beautiful everyday palette from Chanel. And I don't know if this is limited edition, but this is the one, this was the color, the story that spoke to me. I really like fall colors and kind of like a understated glam. And let me see if I can swatch some of these. So that one. Really beautiful. And then this one. So for me, this is like perfect fall colors, but I think I can use this all year round. This is like perfect classic look kind of palette. I'm gonna take this shade right here. That was the Sonia G crease too. I take the mini booster and this shade here and see how that looks. Brush my Hakahudo J5522. Love these brushes, super soft. And it's clean. I just took I want to take a clean brush and just buff all this together. take a Wayne Goss 05, small pencil brush, but use it for my inner corner highlight. And I'm not sure why this one is so huge. Am I supposed to use that for the mobile lid? Maybe someone can tell me. I'm not sure why these are half the size of that. Maybe it's just the way I use palettes of the light color. The light color I usually use for my inner corner highlight. And so I wouldn't need that big of a pan, but I guess I could use that for a mobile lid. I feel like this is a very elegant and classy look. And you know what this reminds me of? Kind of like the Givenchy holiday palette. Less shimmery, but it's that kind of a sophisticated, elegant look. Most of these are, I think all of these are shimmer. Yep. All these are shimmer shades similar to the Givenchy, but not super shimmery for the holiday palette, but kind of the same vibe in that shimmery, elegant, easy to use. I mean, it's pretty on brand. It's Chanel, just like Givenchy. What I love about this Intense palette is that it's an easy to use, kind of hard to mess up, and it goes with almost everything, particularly for fall, winter. So let me finish up my eye makeup and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I finished my eye look with some Brune Agape, which is the Chanel Brune Agape 943. And it's really beautiful shimmery brown. Build it up so you can see. Really beautiful. You know, get them close so you can see. I'm gonna try to make a little bit of a wing there and a little bit underneath and then smudged it out. Rouge Allure, Lacquer, and Timeless. Ooh, that's very red. Yeah. And that was not a lot. I think this is maybe what people refer to as the Chanel red. Look at that. Chanel red. Did not use a lot. That was wild. This is my first time I'm using this formula. So this was an 80 Timeless. It was one of those samples when I bought something from Chanel. And I'm wondering how to keep this because it's a really beautiful color, but it's just little went a long way. Okay. Look, and it's all over my teeth. It's great. It's really attractive. Beautiful. Thanks. Here are those friends that don't tell you you have lipstick on your teeth. Okay, so here is the final look with the Chanel Rouge Allure and Timeless. They look very put together. It's more makeup than I thought I'd be putting on today. And overall, I'm really happy with this look. But if I were to give a review right now, I would say that I really love the formula still. I don't, you know, we'll do a wear test again. This is probably my second day doing a wear test with this formula. Again, nothing has changed in terms of me having to mix the colors. That's nothing new. So we'll see how this wears and I'll check in about a couple hours. But here's the final look. So it's been approximately 4 hours and I haven't touched up any of the foundation or my oil and haven't touched up the lipstick. I had dinner and you can see where it's worn off, but for eating I had a snack and then a meal. This is pretty good. The foundation is looking pretty good. My oil is coming through, but it looks great. So I actually think they improved a little bit on the foundation. Show you all how my foundation is wearing. So about 4.5 hours. I normally don't wear my makeup more than 8 hours. See how it's wearing, and it's really beautiful. And I don't have any, usually the marker of a foundation that's not working for me will be, it tends to just collect in the smile lines here, and that has not happened. Or down here, it'll start to collect and get patchy, and that hasn't happened, which is really great. And I would say this is probably a medium to full coverage. If I wanted more, I'd probably put another layer, but it's just for wear testing. I mean, you can see some of my lines up here, but that's pretty normal. That's just regular signs of aging. And the make of this palette is really wearing really well. So I'm happy with all the Chanel products. And formula has not gotten worse. If anything, it's gotten better. So just that was a concern of mine because this is my favorite and holy grail of foundations, and I'm really excited that they actually improved upon it. So yep, and I think that's it for my final check-in and just my last thoughts. So yeah, thanks.